In the last 10 years, Earth has rebuilt its defenses magnificently. We can protect our people from physical harm. But is that enough? We cannot hope to make peace with other civilizations until we have found peace with ourselves. And that, quite simply, is what the Ministry of Peace is all about. Now, as Babylon 5 has an early warning system to detect possible attacks, we at the Ministry of Peace have created a system of our own. We call it the Night Watch, named after those brave citizens who stood vigil in the darkness against possible enemies. It's a completely volunteer organization, officially endorsed by Earth Dome. Members receive 50 credits per week above and beyond their regular salaries for services rendered.
What kind of services?
Well, mainly just to be present wearing the colors of the Night Watch, raise public awareness, make them start thinking about peace, about the way they treat one another.
I can't believe Earth would pay us 50 extra credits a week just to walk around the station.
Correct. As the name implies, you must also be watchful. Peace can be made or broken with a gun, a word, an idea, even a thought. Now, those who work against peace sow the seeds of discontent. They plant false stories. They undermine the public good. It's not because they are necessarily evil. It's because they don't know any better. They're rejected. They're unhappy. And they lash out in the only way they can. So if we could be made aware of these problems as they occur, then we can find these people. We can talk to these people. We can embrace them again in the arms of society, while at the same time protecting society from misinformation and harmful ideas. We're less interested in actions than we are in attitudes. We must help protect society against its own worst instincts. And by taking these bold steps, we will help to ensure a better future for everyone. I'm proud to be a part of it, and I hope you'll all join me in becoming part of the Night Watch. So this is strictly an informal meeting. I'm glad to see we're adding new members to the Night Watch. Even though I don't recall seeing any recent reports from you, Mr. Allen.
No, hasn't been much to report.
How strange. Your associates have filed reports. One of them describes potentially disloyal acts on the part of a store owner in the Zocalo, one Xavier Darabuto.
Well, he said he thought the new regs on imports were a little nuts, but I don't think...
Sedition comes in small packages as well as large ones, Mr. Allen. Now, perhaps this store owner is nothing more than a vaguely dissatisfied citizen. But how can we tell the real troublemakers from the innocent bystanders unless we're kept informed?
Well, I thought we could exercise our own discretion. Yeah.
Of course you can. But the Night Watch exists to protect our people from misinformation and harmful ideas. Sometimes those harmful ideas can be very subtle. You might not recognize them, but we will.
I know. I
have reports from the others on dock workers consistently late for work, sabotaging efficiency. Several of your lurkers have spoken to reporters about poor conditions here and at home. 2 more shop owners have openly criticized presidential decisions. Have you nothing to report?
Well, I guess I haven't been thinking in those terms. I'm not sure I'm really comfortable with it.
Well, let's make it easy for you, shall we? Can you verify the report about the store owner that I mentioned? He's already been named, so you wouldn't be adding anything new, just confirming what we already know.
I guess, I mean, yeah, I heard him talking, but it's just talk.
That's fine. Hey, see, that wasn't so bad. You learn. You're flexible. You show great promise, Mr. Allen. Great promise indeed.
Enough about politics. So, how are things here on the station?
Fine. Status quo. We have had some problems with the lurkers, but nothing...
Lurkers?
It's our version of the homeless. In many ways, we have the same problem Earth does.
Earth doesn't have homeless.
Excuse me?
we don't have the problem. Yes, there are some displaced people, here and there. But they've chosen to be in that position. They're either lazy, or they're criminal, or they're mentally unstable.
They can't get a job.
EarthGov has promised a job to anyone that wants one. So, if someone doesn't have a job, they must not want one.
Poverty?
It's the same.
Crime?
Yes, there is some, but it's all caused by the mentally unstable. And we've just instituted correctional centers to filter them out at an early age.
Prejudice?
No, we're just one happy planet. Well, all right, there's the Marsies, but that won't change until they stop fighting the Earth rule.
And when exactly did all this happen?
When we rewrote the dictionary. Before coming here, I was authorized to begin implementing certain changes. From this point on, it will be inappropriate for Earth Force personnel to publicly criticize the government or its decisions. Violations of this will result in immediate fines and penalties.
What about civilians?
Well, that's not something you need to worry about. Just take down the information and pass it along. We'll take it from there. The new policies also expand the range of investigation to include past associations, families and friends who might draw others into compromising situations. Is there a problem, Sergeant Allen?
Well, yeah. Babylon 5 security is supposed to act according to the rules of due process.
When enforcing criminal law, that's correct. But you are now an arm of the political office, and this widens the scope of your authority. You are empowered to examine station publications to ensure that they're ideologically correct. We have revised the rules of evidence to make them more flexible.
Isn't all this a little extreme?
Yes. Yes, it is. I shouldn't be telling you this yet. But in the coming months, certain individuals will be purged from their government positions on charges of sedition, immoral conduct, even spying for alien governments. With our basic freedoms at stake, no response can be too extreme. There may be some minor and temporary abridgments in the traditionally protected areas of speech and association, but only until this crisis is over. We have been betrayed on nearly every level. And it is going to take the efforts of every loyal citizen to keep Earth safe and ideologically pure.
Look, I'm not taking this down.
You want me to report this? Is that what you want? Because I can do that.
I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, Captain, good. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
It's all right, it's all right. I heard there was a problem.
Yeah, this thug, this Mumser, came into my shop and started telling me what to do.
He broke the rules, Captain. What am I supposed to do?
What rules?
Well, you saw the news. Clark helped assassinate Santiago. People want to express their feelings about it.
That's all?
It's sedition, disloyalty.
It's an opinion. The Senate hearings back home will decide if it's true or not.
It's an attack on the presidency. The Ministry of Peace
Isn't here. And this isn't disloyalty or an attack on the office of the president. There is a difference between the position and the person who's occupying it at the moment. Start going back to your shop. If this happens again, you call me.
Thank you, Captain. Aren't you late for a Bund meeting or something?
This is the fourth incident like this I've had in 2 days. Enough. If it happens again, whoever's responsible will be disciplined. Is that clear?
I was just following orders.
I said, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
As liaison to the Night Watch office back home, I've received several disturbing communiques over the last few days. The good news is, our efforts to find corruption and disloyalty here and back home have succeeded beyond our expectations.
So what's the bad news?
Their findings confirm our worst fears. Earth has been sold out by our own people. Senators, high-ranking military officers, news media correspondents, even some of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Everything we've been seeing lately, the libelous attacks on the president, alien forces encroaching on our territory, the lies and subversion going on back home, they're all part of an organized effort to weaken our government from within. It's a prelude to invasion.
I don't believe it.
They'll start making arrests within the next 2 months. The lists have already been drawn up.
What can we do to help?
Earth needs all the information we can give her. Any source is acceptable. To make it easier for sources to come forward, we're going to allow them to give us information anonymously. We're authorized to look into past history, social contacts, party affiliations, to conduct email and vid surveillance of Babcom and Stellarcom transmissions.
Well, wait. Just how far does this go, anyway? Do we start suspecting everybody?
No, of course not. Anyone in the Night Watch is automatically recognized as working in the best interests of Earth. As for the other officers, well, we won't look at them unless we detect any unusual activity on their part.
In that case, may I ask a question? Does anyone in this room know where the captain is?
And we've been unable to determine at this time how many have been killed in the recent attacks on Mars by EarthGov forces. President Clark has announced that the attacks will continue until the Mars Provisional Government accedes to martial law. So far, there's been no reaction from any of the outer colonies concerning these attacks.
Jane, I'm sorry to jump in like this, but we have to... The colonies at Orion 7 and Proxima 3 have just broken away from the Earth Alliance in protest over the bombing of Mars. They're setting themselves up as independent states until such time as President Clark is impeached.
Rick, don't do this.
Clark doesn't want this information released, but we have to go with this now because I don't know how much longer we can stay on the air. Armed troops have begun moving in on the ISN Broadcast Center here in Geneva. We just saw them coming around the corner. We're trying to get a camera down there to document what's going on. I can hear gunfire now up here on the 14th floor. Listen to me. There's information you don't have, but going on for the last year, we haven't been allowed to tell you. Get down!
ISN, the galaxy's most important network.
Good morning. The Interstellar Network News is back on the air, broadcasting throughout Earth and to over 2,000 colonies and deep-range outposts. The first thing we want to do is explain what happened to cause the disruption in service. The signal from the ISN News Center here in Geneva was lost when our facilities were attacked by saboteurs intent on paralyzing all Earth communication systems as a prelude to invasion.
What? That's a lie.
In order to divide our forces, the saboteurs used our facilities to stellarcast a fake report designed to create the impression that the government itself was taking action against us. To stop this campaign of misinformation, we ourselves pulled the plug on the broadcast. In the ensuing firefight, government forces recaptured the ISN facilities and apprehended the saboteurs. We've been working around the clock to repair the damage, and now, at last, we're back, better than ever. Coming up in the next hour, President Clark accepts a report from the Ministry of Peace on how crime has been virtually eliminated ever since the extremely popular martial law declaration was issued.
Turn it
Former
off.
Senator Ronald...
You know, sometimes I think I'm too pessimistic. I mean, what's wrong with thinking maybe things might work out once in a while, and then something like this happens? I mean, do they really think that people are going to fall for this?
Why not? It's worked before. He who controls information controls the world.
Everyone knows that ISN is a propaganda arm for President Clark. You didn't come here to do an objective story.
There's no such thing. The objective journalist is one of those great myths you read about, like a griffin or a phoenix or an honest politician. Everybody's got an agenda, whether they admit it or not. But you try not to let it get in the way of the truth. Look, I won't lie to you. You're absolutely right about ISN, which is why most of us quit as soon as Clark took over. But a few of us stayed on, figuring we could try to slip the truth in quietly and in small bites while the big boys weren't looking. That's exactly why I fought to get this assignment.
So you could tell the whole truth?
No, not the whole truth. Just as much as I can without getting into trouble. And you still contend that Clark is responsible for the death of former President Luis Santiago?
Santiago was an impediment to Clark's plans. I mean, with Clark, anything that gets in the way disappears.
Then you're not concerned about the possible repercussions?
It will be a struggle.
A struggle against Earth?
Of course. If they don't understand, we will make them understand.
Anything that gets in the way, disappears.
Then you're not concerned about the possible repercussions.
It will be a struggle. Still.
There's no force in this galaxy that can stop what we have done here together. Nothing will be able to stop us.
There's a lot of people back home who might be concerned about what you're saying. It sounds as if you're putting the mingling of human and Minbari above the safety of your own world.
There's no force in the galaxy that can stop what we have done here together. Nothing will be able to stop us.
Nothing will stop what we have done here together. If this sounds troubling, there may be good reason.